Fame and success can't shield us from life's harshest blows. In this video, we'll explore 5 real stories of Black celebrities who died in the most tragic ways. Their lives were marked by great achievements, but their ends were deeply sorrowful. Join us as we remember these stars and the heartbreaking circumstances of their deaths. It was April 1st, 1984, a date often associated with pranks, but for music fans, it marked a heartbreaking moment. Soul legend Marvin Gaye had lost his life, and the shocking part? The tragedy happened at the hands of his father, Marvin Gaye Sr. At first, many dismissed the news as an April Fool's hoax, but the truth quickly came to light, leaving the world mourning the loss of one of its greatest musical icons. Marvin Pence Gaye Jr., who added an E to his last name early in his career, was known for hits like What's Going On, Let's Get It On, and Sexual Healing. His talent made him a global star, but his personal life was far from glamorous. Much of his struggles stemmed from a strained relationship with his father, which ultimately had tragic consequences. In late 1983, Marvin moved back into his family home in Los Angeles to care for his mother, Alberta, who was recovering from surgery. At the same time, his father also returned to the household. Marvin Gaye Sr., a preacher with strict religious views, had a complex personality. He was known for his volatile behavior, struggled with alcohol, and marital infidelity, all of which created a tense family environment. Marvin Jr.'s childhood was shaped by harsh discipline and constant conflict with his father. Despite their rocky past, Marvin Jr. wanted to reconcile. He told friends he hoped to make peace with his father, but their differences ran deep. Gaye Sr. reportedly resented his son's fame, wealth, and the shift in family dynamics that came with it. For Marvin Jr., the challenges at home were compounded by his battles. Despite a career revival with his 1982 album Midnight Love and the hit Sexual Healing, Marvin was grappling with severe substance addiction, depression, and paranoia. In the days leading up to April 1st, tensions at home were escalating. On the morning of the incident, Marvin's parents were arguing over an insurance matter. Marvin intervened, attempting to defend his mother. The confrontation turned physical, with Marvin reportedly shoving and striking his father. This act set off a chain of events that would change their family forever. According to Alberta, Marvin's mother, Marvin hit his father and ignored her efforts to defuse the situation. Enraged, Gaye Sr. left the room, retrieved a gun, a revolver Marvin had gifted him, and returned. Without saying a word, he fired at Marvin, hitting him in the chest and fatally wounding him. A second shot followed, though the first was enough to end Marvin's life. Marvin collapsed to the floor as his mother watched in horror. He was rushed to the hospital but was pronounced dead at 1:01 p.m. one day before his 45th birthday. The devastating news shocked his family and the music industry. Gaye Sr. was arrested and faced charges. However, the court took into account the family dynamics, including Marvin Jr.'s struggles and the injuries Gaye Sr. sustained during their fight. In the end, Gaye Sr. pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter. He received a suspended sentence with probation and spent his remaining years in a nursing home, passing away in 1998. The impact on Marvin's family was profound. Alberta, unable to forgive her husband for what had happened, filed for divorce shortly after the incident. Meanwhile, the music world grieved. Thousands of fans and fellow artists, including Stevie Wonder and Smokey Robinson, attended Marvin's funeral. Diana Ross later dedicated a song to honor his memory. Marvin Gaye's music continues to inspire generations. His songs tackled complex issues like racial injustice, environmental concerns, and personal struggles. Albums like What's Going On remain timeless masterpieces that broke barriers in the music world. Although his life ended tragically, Marvin Gaye's legacy lives on. His story reflects the challenges of personal and family struggles, but his music reminds us of his incredible talent and the emotional depth he brought to the world. On December 11, 1964, the music world was shocked by the death of Sam Cooke, the king of soul. At just 33 years old, Cooke was found dead at the Hacienda Motel in South Central Los Angeles. Known for timeless hits like You Send Me and A Change Is Gonna Come, Cook was not only a music legend, but also a prominent voice in the civil rights movement. His death left fans heartbroken and full of questions. The events began on the night of December 10, 1964, when Cook was at Martoni's, a popular restaurant in Hollywood. He had $5,000 in cash from recent shows and seemed in high spirits. While there, he met a 22-year-old woman named Elisa Boyer, who would later play a key role in the night's tragic events. After leaving Martoni's, Cook and Boyer went to PJ's nightclub. Boyer claimed the night took a turn when Cook became upset over another man speaking to her. Cook and Boyer left the club in his red Ferrari, but instead of taking her home, he drove to the Hacienda Motel, 15 miles away. He checked in under the name Mr. and Mrs., a detail that would later be heavily scrutinized. In the motel room, Boyer later alleged that Cook became aggressive. Fearing for her safety, she said she grabbed her belongings, mistakenly taking Cook's clothes and cash, and fled. She ran to a phone booth and called the police, claiming she had been held against her will. Meanwhile, Cook, wearing only a sports coat and one shoe, went to the motel office looking for Boyer. Bertha Franklin, the motel manager, said Cook banged on the office door, demanding to know where Boyer was. Franklin claimed Cook forced his way in and grabbed her. Fearing for her life, she said she shot him 3 times, with one bullet hitting him in the chest and killing him. When police arrived, Cook's body was in Franklin's office. His blood alcohol level was reported as 0.16, twice the legal driving limit. The $5,000 he had earlier was missing, and Boyer's purse found nearby had only $20. The case was ruled self-defense, supported by testimony from Franklin and Boyer. Both passed lie detector tests. However, many doubted their accounts. At Cook's funeral, singer Etta James observed severe injuries on his body that she felt didn't match Franklin's self-defense claims. She noted significant head trauma and injuries to his hands. Additionally, some motel guests reported not hearing any gunshots or loud disturbances. Further questions arose about the weapon Franklin used. Police noted discrepancies in the caliber of the bullet that killed Cook and the type of gun Franklin owned. Boyer's credibility also came under scrutiny when she was later arrested for prostitution and convicted in another case involving a death. These inconsistencies fueled speculation. Some believed Cook's death wasn't random, but part of a plot. By 1964, Cook had gained significant power in the music industry, owning his own record label and publishing company, an unusual achievement for a black artist at the time. This independence may have threatened others, including his manager Alan Klein, who controlled much of Cook's finances. Others pointed to racial tensions. As an advocate for civil rights, Cook's activism and refusal to perform at segregated venues could have made him a target. Some even suggested law enforcement or other groups opposed to his influence might have been involved. Even decades later, many questions remain. Why was Cook, a wealthy and successful man, at such a low-end motel? What happened to his money? Was the investigation influenced by biases of the era? Despite his tragic death, Sam Cooke's legacy lives on. His music and fight for justice continue to inspire people around the world. While the full truth may never be known, Cooke's voice remains a powerful reminder of his impact on history. It was January 26, 2020, a calm Sunday morning in Southern California, when a Sikorsky S-76 helicopter lifted off from John Wayne Airport in Orange County at 9:06 a.m. On board were 9 passengers, including basketball icon Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. They were headed to a basketball game at the Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks, a familiar trip for the father-daughter duo. The passengers included John Altobelli, his wife Carrie, and their daughter Alyssa, Gianna's teammate. Peyton Chester and her mother Sarah were also on board, along with Christina Mauser, a basketball coach. The experienced pilot, Ara Zobayan, who often flew for Kobe, was in charge of the flight. Kobe frequently used helicopters to avoid Los Angeles traffic. The Sikorsky S-76, known for its strong safety record, was his aircraft of choice. However, the weather that day was far from ideal. Thick fog blanketed the region. and the Los Angeles Police Department had grounded its helicopters. Despite these conditions, the flight proceeded. Initially, the flight was smooth. The helicopter climbed steadily and headed northwest toward Thousand Oaks. At 9:30 a.m. near Glendale, Ara Zobayan contacted air traffic control at Hollywood Burbank Airport. He requested and received permission to fly under special visual flight rules, allowing navigation in low visibility based on sight. Controllers warned of poor visibility and advised maintaining altitude, noting the helicopter was too low for radar tracking. For 15 minutes, the helicopter circled Glendale, likely awaiting clearance. Around 9:40 a.m., it moved west along U.S. Route 101, a common visual aid for pilots in foggy weather. Then, unexpectedly, the helicopter veered southeast toward the hilly terrain of Calabasas. Flight data revealed a sudden climb from 1,200 feet to over 2,000 feet, reaching a speed of 161 knots, or about 185 miles per hour. Experts believe Zobayan might have been attempting to clear the fog-covered hills. Tragically, moments later, the helicopter descended at a rapid rate of over 4,000 feet per minute. At 9:45 a.m., it crashed into a hillside, resulting in a devastating impact that scattered debris across a large area. Nearby residents heard the crash. Colin Storm, who lived close by, described hearing the low hum of a helicopter, a sputtering sound, and then a loud boom. Emergency responders rushed to the site, but the rough terrain complicated their efforts. All 9 people aboard were confirmed dead. News of the crash quickly spread, and fans began gathering at the Staples Center, where Kobe had spent years as a Los Angeles Lakers star. Tributes poured in from around the world, with athletes, celebrities, and fans expressing their grief. The National Transportation Safety Board, Federal Aviation Administration, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation launched investigations into the crash. Initial speculation pointed to the dense fog as a major factor. Investigators found that Zobayan, a seasoned pilot with over 8,000 flight hours, likely became disoriented in the fog. This phenomenon, known as spatial disorientation, causes pilots to lose a sense of direction. Zobayan may have believed the helicopter was climbing when it was descending. Further analysis confirmed the Sikorsky S-76 was in excellent condition, with no mechanical issues. Investigators ruled out engine failure, citing the reliability of the twin-engine aircraft. The crash was classified as a controlled flight into terrain, where an operational aircraft is unintentionally flown into the ground due to pilot error. The lack of a black box on the helicopter complicated the investigation, but evidence showed it climbed sharply before descending nose first into the hillside. The cause of death for all 9 victims was determined to be blunt force trauma. Kobe's wife, Vanessa Bryant, pursued legal action against Los Angeles County after graphic crash site photos were shared without permission. She was awarded $28.85 million in a settlement, holding those responsible accountable for the invasion of privacy. This tragic incident raised questions about the decisions made that day. Why did Zobayan rely on visual navigation in such poor conditions? Could grounding the flight, like other aircraft that morning, have prevented the tragedy? Kobe Bryant was more than a basketball star. He was a devoted father, husband, and inspiration to millions. The loss of everyone on board deeply impacted their families and communities. Though investigations offered answers, the final moments remain a haunting mystery. This devastating event is a reminder of how quickly life can change, even under seemingly controlled circumstances. It underscores the importance of caution and prioritizing safety in aviation. It was September 17, 1970, in London, England. Jimi Hendrix, widely regarded as one of the greatest guitarists in history, was staying with his girlfriend, Monica Danneman, at her apartment in the Samarkand Hotel, Notting Hill. Hendrix was 27 years old and at the height of his career. But tragically, this night would be his last. The evening started with the couple attending a gathering hosted by Hendrix's business associates. After socializing, they returned to the apartment around 3 a.m. Feeling restless and troubled, Hendrix took sleeping pills to help him relax. What seemed like a harmless decision turned fatal. The following morning, Danneman found Hendrix unresponsive. His breathing was shallow and his face was covered in vomit. She called an ambulance and paramedics arrived at 11:27 a.m. They discovered Hendrix's airway was completely blocked, indicating he had been unresponsive for hours. He was rushed to St. Mary Abbott's Hospital in Kensington, but doctors pronounced him dead at 12:45 p.m. on September 18, 1970. The autopsy revealed Hendrix had died from asphyxiation after choking on his vomit. He had consumed 9 Vesparax sleeping pills, a dose far beyond what is considered safe. Combined with the wine he had drunk earlier, the pills caused a fatal reaction. His death was ruled an accidental overdose, but the circumstances left room for speculation. Born James Marshall Hendrix on November 27, 1942 in Seattle, Washington, Hendrix showed an early passion for music. His father recalled how young Jimmy would pretend to play guitar with a broomstick. By age 11, he had his first real guitar and joined a band 2 years later. Though shy in his youth, his talent and charisma soon became evident. After dropping out of high school, Hendrix joined the U.S. Army but never gave up on his musical dreams. While stationed, he formed a band called the King Casuals. After an honorable discharge, he began touring with well-known artists like Little Richard. His innovative style and raw talent gained attention, paving the way for his solo career. Hendrix's big break came in 1966 when Chas Chandler, former bassist of The Animals, introduced him to the United Kingdom music scene. There, Hendrix formed the Jimi Hendrix Experience. The band quickly became famous thanks to Hendrix's unmatched guitar skills and electrifying performances. He was a pioneer, using effects like wah-wah pedals and distortion to craft a unique sound. One of Hendrix's most iconic moments was his performance of the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock in 1969. His use of feedback and distortion created a groundbreaking rendition of the anthem. Hits like Purple Haze and All Along the Watchtower solidified his status as a legend. Despite his fame, Hendrix faced personal struggles. Overwork and stress often left him unable to sleep. In 1969, he faced drug possession charges in Toronto, but was acquitted. Though he admitted to using substances like marijuana and lysergic acid diethylamide, he denied involvement with harder drugs. Hendrix's free-spirited nature often clashed with the pressures of the music industry. The night before his death, Hendrix discussed with a friend his desire to leave his manager, Michael Jeffrey. Some believe this conversation was significant, as Jeffrey allegedly had a $2 million life insurance policy on Hendrix. Years later, claims surfaced suggesting Jeffrey may have been involved in Hendrix's death. A former roadie, James "Tappy" Wright, claimed Jeffrey admitted to forcing pills and wine on Hendrix. These allegations, however, lack concrete evidence, and the official ruling of accidental death has never been overturned. Hendrix's death added him to the 27 Club, a term used to describe talented artists who died at age 27, including Janis Joplin and Kurt Cobain. His passing left fans wondering what more he could have achieved had he lived. Even in death, Hendrix's influence on music is undeniable. His revolutionary techniques continue to inspire artists like Paul McCartney, Eric Clapton, and Metallica's Kirk Hammett. His legacy remains an enduring force in rock history. The unanswered questions surrounding Hendrix's death only deepen his mystique. Was his death truly accidental, or was there more to the story? What might the world have witnessed if he had lived longer? These questions linger, but one thing is clear. Jimi Hendrix changed music forever, leaving behind a legacy that continues to resonate. It was February 11, 2012, in Beverly Hills, California. Whitney Houston, a legendary singer and actress, was staying at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. At 48 years old, she had sold over 200 million records worldwide and was known for her iconic hits like "I Will Always Love You." Whitney's powerful voice and influence shaped the music industry, inspiring artists such as Mariah Carey, Beyoncé, and Jennifer Hudson. But that day, the world lost one of its brightest stars. Whitney was preparing to attend a pre-Grammy Awards party hosted by her longtime mentor, Clive Davis. This event was highly anticipated, and she had been looking forward to it. However, tragedy struck just hours before the party. At around 3:30 p.m., paramedics were called to her hotel room, where she was found unresponsive in the bathtub. Despite efforts to revive her, Whitney was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. News of her sudden death shocked the world. Fans and fellow artists were heartbroken. Known as the Voice, Whitney's contributions to music were monumental, and her loss was deeply felt. In the following days, the coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning, citing heart disease and substances in her system as contributing factors. When paramedics arrived, Whitney was found unconscious in the bathtub by her assistant, Mary Jones. The report noted minor abrasions on her forehead and nose and other physical details. The bathwater, still warm 6 hours after her passing, indicated it was extremely hot when she got in, causing burns on her skin. The toxicology report found traces of substances in Whitney's system, including one indicating influence at the time, along with anti-anxiety medication, allergy medicine, a muscle relaxant, and marijuana, none of which contributed to her death. Investigators found a spoon with a white, crystal-like substance and a rolled piece of paper in the room, items associated with substance use. Despite this, no methamphetamine was detected. Whitney's health had been declining in the years leading up to her death, largely due to personal struggles and habits that had taken a toll on her voice and overall well-being. A few unusual details were noted in the report. Whitney's driver's license was missing from her purse, and some prescription bottles were removed from a bag and placed on a table. These medications were prescribed by several doctors. Another detail revealed Whitney wore a wig and dentures, both likely due to long-term health issues. Over the years, Whitney's health struggles had been visible. Her voice, once unmatched, had changed due to excessive smoking and other factors. Despite these challenges, her legacy remained strong. Whitney achieved remarkable milestones during her career. From 1985 to 1988, she had 7 consecutive #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100. Her influence reached far beyond her music, leaving a mark on the industry. Her passing underscored the challenges of personal struggles and the impact they can have on even the most talented individuals. While her battles were well documented, they ultimately led to her untimely death. Following her death, tributes poured in from around the world. Mariah Carey called her one of the greatest voices of all time, and Oprah Winfrey expressed gratitude for the gift of Whitney's talent. The heartfelt messages showed the immense love and respect people had for her. Whitney Houston's life was a mix of incredible success and personal challenges. Her influence on music remains unparalleled, even as her struggles became a reminder of the importance of addressing personal issues. What if Whitney had sought help earlier? Could her story have taken a different path? These questions linger as we reflect on her life and legacy. Her passing remains a significant loss, but her music continues to inspire, reminding us of her extraordinary talent. Whitney's death on February 11, 2012, marked the end of a remarkable journey, but her legacy lives on. As one of the greatest voices in history, she left a mark on the world, both through her music and the lessons we can learn from her life.